the schema, like they have given five entities and followed with some of the attributes to the each entities. So for college database, obviously the entities will be like student, SEM section, they given SEM section, class, then subject, IMRs. These five entities they have assigned, they have given for the college database, and followed with the attributes for each entity, like for student, USN, student name, address, phone, gender. These are some of the attributes assigned for the student, and they made USN as the primary key. And for SEM section, SEM sec, section ID, SSID, SEM, then sec. They made section ID as the this one primary key for the SEM sec. And for class, again the USN and the SSID, then subject, subject code, title, SEM, credit, IMARCs, USN, subject code, SSID, test 1, test 2, test 3, and final IA. This is like they have given the what relation schema for the college database. And after creating the table, adding constraint to each table, and inserting the values, we're going to perform these five queries on this table. Okay, how to create the before moving to that, the relational diagram, the schema diagram, right? So USN, S name, address, phone, gender. For the table entity, they made USN as the primary key, right? Section ID, SEM, and SEC. Here they have made only the USN as the primary key because we already have a USN number. It is the primary key. So we can't make this table, the same attribute in this table class as a primary key. So what we made, we're going to make this SSID also a primary key. Then the combination of these two becomes the primary key for the entity class. For this table, SSN and SSID, these two becomes the primary key. Why we combine this SSID with this USN number? We already made this USN number of the student as the primary key. That's why we don't have any other option. So we have to combine this primary key with the other candidate key. Candidate key, you know, right? So in the entity, if the entity is having more than one attribute to be act as a unique, more than one attribute to be act as a unique, right? One attribute will be make it as a primary key, and other attribute will make it as a candidate key. In the same way, here USN and SSID also a candidate key. We can make SSID as a primary key, but they already given in the schema. We can't change that one, right? We can't change. So what we're going to do, we just add one more attribute as a primary key to this class, to this entity class. Okay, so SSN, USN, and SSID. Next, subject code, title, SEM, credits, and IMARCs, USN, subject code, SSID. All these three becomes the primary key for this IMARCs, because subject code we already made as a primary key, SSID we made as a primary key, and USN is also as a primary key in the different table. So we can't make this either any of this one as a primary key. So we are making these three as a primary key. Combination of all these three becomes the primary key for the table IMARCs, followed by test 1, test 2, test 3, and final IA is the other attributes, right? So we made USN as the primary key here. So other table attribute USN to be acting as a what? Foreign key, correct? Other attribute acting as a foreign key, right? So USN is a foreign key, and it is pointing out to the primary key USN of the student table. So pointing towards the USN number. This table, this foreign key referencing to this attribute of this table student, right? So SSID in the same way we are pointing out to the primary key, right? So SSID, one more table we're having SSID, so that is also pointing out to the primary key. So wherever you find the USN number, only one table USN acting as the primary key, all other table with the same attribute name to be acting as a foreign key. So whichever the table is having a foreign key, that should be pointing towards the primary key table. Right? That is what we are doing in the schema diagram. That is how we are going to design the schema diagram. So subject code here. Oh, this subject code is going to be pointing out to this primary key. This is how we have to create the schema diagram. After creating the schema diagram, with the help by using this schema diagram, we're going to construct the database. Right? We're going to construct the database. For constructing the database, first we have to create the table. We can insert the constraint. We can assign the constraints to each table. Right? We can make it by two ways. One is implicitly, other one is explicitly. So while implicitly nothing but while creating the table only, we are inserting the primary key and foreign key constraint to this table. Explicitly means by using alter command, we are going to add the constraint to the table already created table, right? So second way is the best method by using the alter command, because by using alter command, we are going to in alter command we're going to use the constraint name, right? With the help of the constraint name, we can drop the constraint whichever we added to that attribute. So by using alter command, we're going to add the constraint to the table. So here they are used the implicit command. So while creating the table, they added the foreign key and primary key to the table. Right? Create table student. This is the attribute followed with the data type and the constraint value. So USN varchar of 10. So this USN should contain minimum 10 character, maximum 10 character. If you try to give more than 10 character, that value will be not accept to this table student. Right? Followed with the primary key. This is the we are making this USN as a primary key. So primary key. Right? Address of varchar, phone number. Right? Phone number. Phone number is this one. Data type and followed with the 10. Gender, character of phone. In the same way, we created the table. When it comes to class table, in the class table we have a foreign key. So create table class followed with the attribute name, foreign key, which tables attribute, which want to make as a foreign key, that table, and referencing to which table, that table student. Right? In this table we have two foreign keys, so we are assigning the two foreign keys here. Now it is two foreign keys. So foreign key SSID references SEMSEC SSID. In the same way, we are going to create the table by seeing this schema diagram. Okay, here with these two tables are having a foreign key. So this table is referencing to student table. This table is referencing to this SEMSEC table. So while creating the table, these two are acting foreign keys. So two foreign key commands we have to specify while creating the table class. Right? Subject only one foreign key command. And when it comes to IM marks, three foreign key command, one for USN, second for subject code, and third for SSID. Right? This is how we are going to create the table. Right? After this, we are going to insert the value to the table. Right? For inserting values, for which table we have to insert the value first, that we have to notify first. Right? So here, student table is having a USN number as a primary key. So this table don't have any foreign key, right? This table don't have any foreign key. So we can easily insert the value first to this table student. So I will repeat, the student table having only the primary key, that is USN number. This table doesn't have any foreign key. So we can insert the value first to this table student. Then second, SEMSEC, same way, the SEMSEC also doesn't have any foreign key, right? So we can insert the value to this table second, or we can insert the value to this first also, because it doesn't contain any foreign key, or doesn't contain any foreign key. There is no right rule that we have to do we have to insert the value first to the student table only, right? So while inserting the values to the table, first we have to see that whether the table is having a foreign key, right? Because for the foreign key, we have to give the same value which we have given in the primary key, right? That is the one thing we have to remember while inserting the value to the table, correct? So this table doesn't have any foreign key. This table doesn't have any foreign key. So we're going to assign values to this table. Then when it comes to third table, USS and SSID, these two attributes are acting as a foreign key to the table class. But we already created the values, we already inserted the values to the USN and SSID. So we can use the same value to be inserted in the class table, right? So next is subject. Here, subject code is acting as a primary key here. So after inserting values, we can insert the values first to student table, second to section table, third to class table. Next, subject. Next, we're going to assign the value to the subject table. So subject code values, we're going to assign titles and credits. Next, last, IM marks table. So IM marks, we already assigned the value to the USN value. This value we can give here. This value we can give here. And SSID value we can assign here. And test 1, test 2, test 3. Please do remember, while inserting value for the IM marks, don't insert value to final IA. I will repeat, or please note down, while inserting the value to IA marks, don't insert value to the last attribute for the table IA marks final LA. You just leave null, right? You just leave blank there. Don't leave blank. You just place it a null value, NULL, null. That keyword you have to place in the final IA, because in the fourth query, some operation we're going to perform, some task we're going to perform on this table. After executing that query, automatically that value is going to be mentioned here. That value is going to be assigned here after executing the fourth query. That's why, so while inserting the value to the IA marks table, you just insert value till test 3. Don't insert value to final IA. Okay, here after executing the fourth query, automatically that executed value, that executed result is going to be stored here. Okay, this is how we have to insert the value. So basically, for this table, for the schema diagram, for inserting the value, we can insert the value sequentially for student, SEMSEC, class, subject, and IA marks. Right? For IA marks, please do remember, don't insert the value for the final IA. You just insert till test 3 marks. Okay, for final IA, you just place a null value, NULL. You just store that null keyword to this table for IA marks. Okay. After inserting the values, if you want to see those values, let's start from student. This table, this command will show whatever the values we are inserted to the table, right? So SEMSEC, this is the values we have inserted for class, for IA marks, right? For IA marks, see here, for inserting, we have not inserted any values. It is blank. It is blank. Okay, for while inserting the values. So don't insert value to the final IA marks attribute. This is subject attribute values. Okay.